questions right there, like famine. Because you know what famine is? Just when you die of starvation, when you don't have nothing to eat. Or nakedness, straight up poor. You're a homeless bum. Peril, what kind of trouble could you get into? Hell, you could be having sex with all kinds of married women, and those married women's husbands find out and they'll fucking kill you. Or a sword, or is it Esau? What's a sword? He didn't say what sword, but I'm pretty sure he's talking about Esau.
The sword means a weapon. It could be a gun.
Or it could mean the whole thing.
It could be somebody threatening your life, you know?
And who's the one threatening our life? Esau.
Yeah.
The so-called white man.
Yeah. So all this stuff is happening now.
And it says, as it is written, for thy sake we are killed all the day long. We are accounted as sheep for the slaughter.
All right, so we know that we're going through all these tribulations and all these persecutions, you know. So that's a test right there, because an example is the movie Training Day, right? Because he was training all day long, right? But as he was training, he was taking punishment, you know. But at the end, he overcame all that, you know.
Like, yeah. That's like when you're lifting weights and you're doing a heavy set. You feel like you want to quit, but you know if you push through it, you achieve something. You triumph.
Yeah.
A little gain goes a long way. A little gain goes a long way. It boosts your confidence. Your morale goes up.
Yeah.
And then you're obviously going to feel better. So what kind of confidence could we have in Hamashiach? The love that we have in Hamashiach. It's simplified like this. Romans 8:31. What shall we then say to these things? If Yahweh be for us, who can be against us? Oh, that's the spirit, because that wasn't the one I was trying to get. I was trying to get this one. 33. Who shall lay anything to the charge of God's elect, or Yahweh's elect? It is Yahweh that justifies.
See, so we got the power from the source.
So we're too legit to quit.
Yep. We're too lawful to quit this game. You know, we're already too far. We're already too deep, in too deep, like that movie. In too deep.
Can't stop, won't stop. So, want me to go to 37? Romans 8:37. Nay, in all these things we are more than conquerors, through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principalities, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come.
So right there, it's speaking like if we're like what's it called, a Super Saiyan or something?
Super Saiyan?
Yeah. So right there, nothing could overcome us.
But how do you get to that level? It's not going to happen in day one.
Yeah. You got to be built up.
Because remember, if you're an alcoholic and you stop drinking today, you have 300 days for your liver to recover, because each cell in that liver will replace itself in 300 days. You'll get a new liver if you stop drinking from now till then. So you got to stop doing what? Stop sinning. Stop getting yourself filthy. Even though we're justified, don't make it too hard for yourself.
Like that guy on Training Day, he was smart, you know. He was about to get, he was in too deep. He was about to get murdered.
He was about to get raped and murdered.
Yeah. Damn.
But he was what? Too legit to quit. Why? Because he did a righteous act. He saved that gangster's cousin from getting raped and from those crackers.
That's what saved him.
Hey man, that's all spiritual, man, because the brother that got saved from those gangsters, he got saved by his righteousness.
That's right. That brother that was in the back seat of the car, about to get shot.
Man, so if you motherfuckers, and I'm gonna call you motherfuckers, say that you're in the truth and you ain't making no fucking videos, that's all you are, is a motherfucker. You don't got nothing to back you up. Because those gangsters are gonna come for you. And they're gonna have you in the back seat and they're gonna be scrolling through your phone and they're gonna be like, what the fuck, this guy just watches cartoons and all he cares about is his fucking family? Put a bullet in his fucking hand. Drop this nigga off at the dairy. Throw him in the fucking shit, in the dairy shit, with the towels on.
That's spiritual, because he was searching his phone. He was actually searching his spirit. You know, the angel was searching his spirit. You know,
there's too much things going on, man. Too many things going on for you to even just think about. No, he loves me so much. I don't have to do a video. Yes, you do have to do a video. Because you think that gangster's gonna be like, oh, he's justified by. He's not even gonna know the name. The name is what saved him. And he couldn't say the name because they wouldn't understand it. It had to be like that. He had to go scrolling through his phone, looking at the short videos, and when they were all calling for the name, he had to be like, what's that mean? He goes through your phone and he sees numbers of married women. He's gonna think this guy's wicked. I'm justified in killing him. Because it goes both ways. The wicked are justified in their acts, and the righteous are justified in their acts. And the same being justifies them. Yahweh Shai justifies both acts. That's crazy, man. So you can get blasted because you don't make videos. If that brother didn't make any of those videos, he wouldn't have no evidence to save his ass. Because he could have been saying, well, I'm a priest, I'm a this, I'm a that. But he didn't have any evidence. So he didn't have any persuasion.
I want to go to Ecclesiastes. Where you got some? Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Because it's all about, you know, your works. It's all about the end, the outcome, you know, what the outcome, you know, of your works.
Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. This is Ecclesiastes
144.
7 and 8. Oh, this is perfect. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
So it said, better is the end of a thing. So that's why at the beginning it was hard when we came into the truth, but it's better at the end. But
that's spiritual right there.
But only the patient, you know, is gonna have that victory outcome. So you gotta be patient. If you be patient, then you're gonna have a better outcome if you're patient through a certain situation.
Let me look for this.
Because if you're proud, if you're too proud, that means you know, you're not gonna be thinking right. Like the brother said, you just wanna, you just look at something and you just wanna go for it without thinking, you know, oh shoot, I'm gonna get tired.
This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follow it.
So we're at the end already. We should already be like, let's go, you know? Instead of not wanting to make videos.
That's a terrible thing to do right there. Because you're leaning on your own understanding.
Because this devil's already bleeding, you know? And what happens when you see blood? You start going for the kill, you know?
And there's blood on my tripod that came out of my hand. I forgot how it came out of my hand, but I must have cut myself somewhere.
Oh, shit. That's the bloody house shot.
So this is all scriptural. Let me read that one again. Ecclesiastes 7 and 8. Better is the end of a thing than the beginning thereof, and the patient in spirit is better than the proud in spirit.
So at the end, everything's gonna be righteous. You know, if a Jake was doing wicked, he's gonna receive judgment. He's gonna receive his punishment, and then he's gonna be righteous after that. You know.
And that means if we're doing wickedness, we're gonna receive. This is our punishment. Not to preach, but to be here on this time period. Because we're seeing and witnessing all kinds of things.
It was our punishment to be put in this land. So we trying to preach our way out of this land.
Yeah.
You know?
Because this land defiles the body.
Yeah.
And we're trying to clean it up so we can be nice and ready for the wedding. For the party.
Yeah.
When the chariots get here and start blowing stuff up.
Want to go to Psalms 21 and 5.
Psalms 25 and 5.
21 and 5.
Psalms 21 and 5. Psalms is a big book. This is Psalm 21 and 5. His glory is great in thy salvation. Honor and majesty hast thou laid upon him.
So it says glory is great in thy salvation. So the only way you're gonna get saved is through a great glory. You're not gonna ease on by and to the kingdom.
You know what glory means, right? You have to get punished in order to get glory. What did Yahweh say? Glorify me, Father. And what was he going through? He was getting the crown of thorns. He's got the spear in the side. He got crucified. That's glorified. That's receiving glory. That's like you're watching WW. Well, back then it was F. I remember when the first had the barbed wire match, and the guys would be all bloody. They would get glorified right there. And then they would have all kinds of fans, and then the next day you would be like, all the kids would be like, oh, that was awesome. But they had to get glorified.
And that's another word for glorify is majesty. You know, because majesty, it means an ornament. And an ornament is like a decoration. And it says beauty, a glorious, goodly.
Oh, so you know what our glory is going to be? The crown.
That's right.
When Yahweh puts the crown on us.
That's that ornament.
But we ain't just, I was just thinking that, like a tree, right? Like, because we have the memory of the fucking Christmas tree. And we made it look pretty by what? Putting ornaments. And we even made our own ornaments in school. We made the pictures for our mommy and our daddy. But we're getting glorified right now. We're making ourselves an ornament. And the finishing touch is going to be that crown. And once you put that crown on you, you're going to turn Super Saiyan. You're not even going to think about it.
Yeah.
You're not going to think about flying, but you're going to be flying. You're not going to think about your powers, but you're going to have powers. You're not going to think about your chariot, but your chariot's going to... What if your crown turns into a chariot? Have you ever thought about that? What if your crown turns into a chariot? Why is the UFOs engulfing the angels? Are they wearing a crown, and the crown And that's not doctrine. That's just me thinking. I'm just saying. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. But that's a beautiful thought, right? As soon as you get that crown, boom, those are the keys to your chariot. Imagine. Because you got keys to your car and some people can turn on their cars with their keys from a distance. It just means ownership, right? You got the keys, yeah, that's it. Instead of us getting keys to the city, we're gonna get keys to the whole universe. Like literal keys. The crown has all that power on it.
Read that one again.
This is Psalm 21:5. His glory is great in thy salvation. Honor and majesty hast thou laid upon him.
So glory is great in salvation, and salvation is at the end. You know, and think about the movie Superman, like the first Superman. You know, he didn't die at the end. You know, it went on to part 2, part 3, part 4. You know, the good guy didn't die.
He had a lot of enemies. A lot of people wanted him dead. Let me read that one again. His glory is great in thy salvation. So our salvation is going to be because his glory is great. Because he went on the cross for us, so he gets to save us. So his glory is great.
His glory is for us to keep these laws, statutes, and commandments.
Honor and majesty hast thou laid upon him. Hey man, so we're doing this, and we're placing honor and majesty upon you outside. So he's going to give us a crown.
See that?
Damn, man. Damn. See, we prepared. I didn't even know I was going to talk about the mark of the beast. Like I was coming down. That's a good topic. But this lesson is growing. It's growing on us. See, this is getting spiritual.
That's right, because it's all about salvation, because we're at the end. Salvation is close. You can smell it. Now, you know? Now why do you want to take your chip?
Like, let's go back to that steak. Does that steak smell good in the beginning, or does it smell good towards the end?
That's right.
It smells good towards the end, and you're fucking salivating over it. You're thinking, man, that steak is gonna be good. And then you cut it with a knife, and it cuts so deep, and you think in your head, automatically, this is gonna be the best steak that I'm gonna chew up, and it's not gonna be tough. It's gonna, with the knife, cut it real good. And then guess what? You put it in your mouth, and it's not tough. It's so soft, and then you're like, next thing you know, the steak's gone. The steak's gone.
Yeah, that's why they call it marinade. You know, they like to marinate it, which is they just it's like a patient cooking. You know.
Damn. Heck yeah. There it is.
Just like the slow cooker, you know.
And verse 6 says, for thou hast made him most blessed forever. Thou hast made him exceeding glad with thy countenance. So our suffering is making Yahushua happy. Just like Yahweh was made happy by Yahushua's suffering. Yeah, today's lesson is a real head scratch. Makes you think real hard. That's why you got to study, because when you first come into it, Apostle Ramlab and Apostle Gabar and Apostle Tahar, Apostle Rokar, they're telling you things and you believe it. But if you're not studying, you won't see it.
Yeah, you can't just put the video on and watch 2 minutes of it. You know, you gotta get that edification.
That's like you get a brand new TV and you only screw on one part of the thing that's gonna hold it on the wall mount.
Yeah.
And then you go home, you're watching, and then you come home from work and your TV's fucking broke on the floor.
You don't got the antenna.
You don't got the antenna. You didn't do the whole process right. You weren't patient. You didn't glorify that TV.
You didn't look at the instructions.
Hey, that's another thing. That's another way of looking at things, right? Let's say you're fixing your car. Are you gonna fix it or glorify it? You're gonna glorify it. Now you're paying attention to all the things that you have to do. Like when you change the oil, it's not just about taking the oil cap off and then the oil filter and putting the new oil filter in, you got to make sure that you do the opposite. Like you unscrew it and you got to screw it back on. You got to make sure that that seal's tight in the oil in the Fram oil filter. And then you got to make sure that you have the right type of oil. Some dummies don't even know what kind of oil to put in their car. They take the oil cap and it says 030 and they're putting in 1020. The 0 means synthetic, you douchebag. Fully synthetic. And you could ride 10,000 miles on a synthetic. Which means if you play smart, you might only have to change your oil once a year.
Yeah, you could go for a while if you know how to keep it, you know, clean.
You glorify it.
Yeah.
But here you are putting the 10W, the 1040.
Here you go, just leaving the car on while it's parked and for
Unlocked,
no
and
reason.
you got your phone hanging on there. Now, do you know what happens when you put cheap ass oil in your car? Your car ends up fucking up because there's minerals in that oil, just like the cells in your blood. There's minerals that help the shafts pump nice and steady. But if your shafts are full of metal shavings, that means there's minerals in your oil. There's shavings in your oil.
Yeah, and that's why your blood, it could get dirty, you know, which is called blood poisoning
Or oxidation.
Yeah, or alcohol. I think you can get alcohol in your blood too.
Yeah. You don't want none of that shit in your blood. Your blood's the oil that keeps you going. You don't want to get no Lamborghini and put fucking Pennzoil in that bitch. You'd have to go to 76 and get that super, what's it called, super unleaded, that racing car fuel. You don't fucking go to the Quickie Brake Mart, put the cheapest shit.
Yeah.
You're gonna hit the throttle and it's gonna be like put, 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 put.
Yeah.
How embarrassing would that be? You show up to a car show, everybody's got a Lamborghini. You got a Lamborghini, but your Lamborghini is a Lamborghini. Because you didn't know how to glorify it, right? So this is what we got to do. We got to glorify this book because these are his words. Let me get this scripture.
Just hold on to Matthew 7:24. And I'm gonna get another quote.
This happens every time the brother wants
So this is another quote.
oh, now there's two trains.
Yeah, so this quote says, if you feel like giving up, just look back on how far you are already. So if you feel like giving up in this truth, we're already, like I said, we're already at the end of this thing.
It's like you're lifting weights and your arms and shoulders are developed, but you still got a gut. And you're like, I can't do it. It's hard work, man. It's hard work. It's hard work to change.
You gotta get a full body workout, you know. Why are you gonna work one muscle out and then let another muscle just sit?
You gotta work your legs out.
When you could be doing the potential, your fullest potential. Yep.
Yeah.
Legs.
You gotta do the legs, the core, the shoulders, the back, the biceps,
Neck.
neck.
You know.
Because you're a whole system.
So it's about building yourself up.
the judgment wagon. Now what are you gonna do, Mr. Smart Guy? You gotta wait for the fucking train now.
Now the person who's receiving judgment, you know,
They ain't gonna get help. Just look at that. They're waiting for somebody to help them, and they gotta wait for the fucking train. That's because you believe in Babylon.
that's Satan holding them up right there.
That's Satan holding them up. That's Satan pulling up Satan. And you got a fucking some motherfucker, some poor dumbass or somewhere. They got hit by a car, and he's like hanging on. And he's like, "Sweet Jesus, send somebody!" And then they're right here, and catching the train.
So it says, if you feel like giving up, just look back how far you are already. So the farther you get into this thing, the more better you're going to be built up.
The better off you are.
Yep. So that's why if you hear this word, don't turn back so quickly. You know.
Yeah, that's like when we first started right here. Set up everything. The shade was over there, but I knew the shade would get here around this time. I was like, man, if we just keep preaching, the shade's gonna get here, and it's gonna be pretty good.
There was no leaves on these trees.
Yeah, remember? We were just getting sunburned and all that stuff. But then look at the change in the trees. The leaves are here. There's birds everywhere, and then not only is that, but we're preaching here, and the wind's giving us fresh oxygen. Beautiful fresh oxygen.
That's right.
You can smell the leaves on it.
Yeah. That's fresh too.
It smells good. See, the little things in life that Yahweh Shem Shai gives you, you have to take advantage of. You got to glorify them. Each cell that takes up that clean oxygen is brand new oxygen. It's not dirty. We're getting the clean shit, even though we're in the red, dirty area. Because the angels, what? They encamp at the bow.
So, somebody who has a dirty body, you know, they wouldn't take glory to these things.
They wouldn't even be able to smell the leaf.
They just walk by and be like, oh, whatever.
Because we can really smell the leaf. We smell the leaf.
We take glory to nature.
It smells good too. Making us feel clean.
Yeah.
And the Holy Spirit just passed by. Dove just flew up on the tree. See,
There was a bird in my house, and then
inside?
yep, there was a bird in my house, and then after a while, then we didn't see it no more. We didn't know where it went.
But you know, there's a saying that birds scare demons away. Because it was probably chirping in your house, right? Bird. That's what this saying is. So let me get this in St. Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth, now hold on now, it said whosoever, but look at that, brother. It has a what? An asterisk on there. So that means you got to look up the scripture in Luke 6:47. So let me just get it real quick. Look at that, it just went right to it. Luke 6:47. Whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings and doeth them, I will show you to whom he is like. So now we're going to go back to Matthew. Because therefore whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock.
Right, so he's talking to the nation of Israel.
That's whosoever is.
Because in order to build yourself up, you need the law, statutes, and commandments. There's no way you could build yourself up without the law, you know?
And that goes to show you.
You can't be like, I'm going to throw this Bible away and I'm going to build myself up, you know?
Heck no. Because the Bible is the foundation. Words of the rock.
Read that again.
This is St. Matthew 7:24. Therefore, whosoever heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them, I will liken him unto a wise man which built his house upon a rock.
So if you listen to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, listen to what he taught us, which is the law, statutes, and commandments, we're going to be like someone who built his house on a rock, you know, on a solid foundation. You know, that represents someone who's strong.
Strong and wise. Now, if you go on Google search and you look for houses that were built on rocks, they'll show a whole island that's a big giant rock, and it has grass and everything, and there's one house on it.
Yeah, there's one house on it, and that's the person who owns the land. You know,
The landlord. So he chose, and you don't even have to talk to him because you already know he's smart. He chose a foundation that's rock solid. And he knows that it's going to be okay because the waves are crashing on it. The wind is blowing on it.
That's what it says on the next verse. If you want to get that.
Verse 25. And the rain descended, and the floods came, and the winds blew, and beat upon that house, and it fell not, for it was founded upon a rock.
Right. So what does that represent? It represents all the tribulation, all the persecution that we're going through. The Israelites, who are Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You know?
All those fails we go through every day.
Yep. And you have to build yourself with this law, statutes, and commandments on a rock. If you're not building, then you're building it on what? Something else that's weak.
On folly.
Which is, you know, what's the opposite of solid?
Soft.
You know, soft like a pillow. You know?
You don't want to be soft like a pillow.
You know?
Because then what happens if you're soft? Like if this was soft, it wouldn't be able to stand. We wouldn't be able to put our backpacks on it. If that tripod was soft, it would just, the wind would blow over my camera and break that. So it has to be solid. And if it's not solid, it's not safe, right? You're not gonna climb on a ladder that's shaky and wobbly.
That's right.
You're gonna change the fucking light bulb. That ladder's all shaky.
Yeah, because what you're doing, you're risking your life. You know?
You're safe.
You're trying to balance yourself, you know? But you're just risking your life.
That's dangerous.
Read the next one.
And everyone that heareth these sayings of mine and doeth them not shall be likened unto a foolish man which built his house upon